And welcome to the Cedar Falls Committee of the Whole meeting this September 16, 2019. I'll now call this meeting to order with a couple of items to cover this evening. One is wheat pasting murals in Cedar Falls and bills and payroll. Moving back up, we have a couple of folks here from UNI to speak to us about the wheat pasting murals in our fine city. Make sure that microphone's down. Yeah, perfect.
You could sit down. Okay. Later. Hello, everybody. My name is Bettina Fabos. I'm a professor of interactive digital studies at the University of Northern Iowa. I'm a Cedar Falls resident, and I am here representing the Fort Upon Iowa project, the College Hill Partnership, the Iowa Arts Council, from which we got a grant, which is one of the reasons why I'm here today, the UNI Alumni Association, which is also giving us some funding, and the Fort Upon Iowa project. Just a few words about what this project is. Probably the most exciting thing I've ever worked on is as a scholar of digital archives, photo archives, and a big collaborator at UNI, working with other professors in geography, in library science, in art, in history. This is one of the most exciting projects right now, interdisciplinary projects coming out of UNI. Basically, it is a photo archive that is it's all curated images of everyday Iowa life, focusing on amateur Iowa snapshots. We really believe that the timeline interface is extremely accessible for the public. It's a project that is very publicly focused. It's volunteer driven. It is something that is based on donations and volunteer work and student work and faculty work. And so we're building this magnificent photo archive that is telling the story of Iowa in, photograph by photograph, from 1860, when it's about our earliest photograph, all the way through to 2000. And the things that make Fort Upon Iowa really unique as an archive is that it's curated, so we are offering a beautiful aesthetic experience as people scroll through the archive. It is featuring images that are all scanned at high resolution. So if you know anything about pixels, and we scan these images between 7,000 and 10,000 pixels, it's a lot of pixels. These images are really huge. They're really high quality. And we want to create this public park, as we call it, of images that anybody can work with and use and visit, again, to tell the story of Iowa life and Iowa history. We are focusing on amateur photography. We are, again, highlighting the stories of everyday life rather than the official history of Iowa. We're really showing that Iowans are complicated and nuanced, and there's a beautiful range of images that tell the story of everyday people who are doing everyday things, but the range of Iowans there we're featuring in our archive is really extraordinary. The fact that, I'm going to go back to the picture, that it's on a timeline, again, features the juxtaposition of one image after the other, so we're automatically telling a story. We're building a narrative that starts in 1860 and goes all the way through, so it's very easy to explore, and it's very accessible to all publics. Last couple things is that we are building a new interface that we're going to release in less than 2 months that is going to allow everybody create the capability of having a forum, a discussion, so you can talk about the images and, again, build our public collective memory together as Iowans. And finally, every image is downloadable for public use as part of the Creative Commons. Every image is given a Creative Commons license. Why I'm here today is that we have this wonderful partnership with 5 public libraries, and Cedar Falls Public Library is one of them. Anamosa, Sumner, Ottumwa, and Webster City are also our partners. And this is sort of like an organic partnership that just happened, and Cedar Falls is logical partner because we're based at the University of Iowa, and so we've got this beautiful partnership. And the grant that we wrote for the Iowa Arts Council is helping our public libraries build scanning hubs, build photo exhibitions that are based on the Fort Upon Iowa archive that sort of feature the geographic location. So we're going to have a photo exhibition that is Cedar Falls focused. And we are also very excited about a traveling lecture series. So stay tuned for that. We're building beautiful ways to interpret the many images in the archive. There's going to be soon 15,000 images and expanding every month. And then what I have here is some geolocation activities for kids. So, we're very excited about incorporating georeferencing, geolocation as we work towards a mapping view and different kinds of displays that are going to be really involving our Cedar Falls residents in building the value of this archive. So what I'm here today to talk to you about is the main excitement of the moment, which is our wheat pasting initiative. And I'm going to hand it over to my colleague and collaborator, Isaac Campbell, who is going to tell you a little more about what the wheat pasting is and how we got funded through the Iowa Arts Council to work with the partners that we have, the public libraries, and put up to 5 wheat pastes in each town with which we are partnered. So.
All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you very much, Bettina. So you're all probably wondering, what is wheat pasting? Wheat pasting is an art form, an urban art form that's been popularized by a French artist by the name of J.R. That's him right there. And it has 3 simple ingredients. It's flour, water, and paper. You may have made the glue before back in school, where you just take water and you mix it with flour and put over some boiling water, and then you use that to adhere the paper to whatever surface that you're going to put it on. So it could be the side of a wall, it could be concrete on the ground, anything. And it's quite durable, but it also has a lot of really nice qualities that make it great for urban, non-destructive street art. And here's a couple pieces that really showcase the art form and its true power. These are all pieces that JR has done around the world. He's known for doing incredibly inspiring work that really adheres and fits into the environment that it's being placed. So this isn't just like an advertisement. It really helps tell a story of the environment it's in, and it really works with the physical location as kind of this beautiful marriage between art and location. This is a piece that he did on the Israeli-Palestinian border. This is when he hid the Louvre. So he pasted on the pyramid, as you can see there. This is his most recent one that's been done in Cuba. And then this was a series he did in Africa. And so a lot of people, the biggest question we always get is, how long do wheat pastes last? If it's just flour and water, what's going to happen when it rains? This is a testament to the art form. This piece has been up for 10 years in the location it's at. So it's quite durable, more than most people think. And if you're interested in the art form, I'd highly recommend you watch the documentary that's been produced, Faces Places, which really showcases the wonderful community building and things that this art form can do and bring people together all around the world. So I highly recommend that. So again, whenever anybody asks me about what wheat pasting is, it's non-destructive, it's biodegradable, it's scalable, so we can print paper till the cows come home and make it huge, and it's also extremely cost effective. So it makes it a really great way to put up really compelling pieces of art in places that need a little inspiration or excitement. And so I was inspired by the art form, and I started working. I'm originally from Ottumwa, Iowa. I started working with our Main Street on some public art initiatives as part of the Better Block initiative. They came in from Texas and they helped kind of remake our communities downtown in a weekend. And so as part of that, the different improvements that we did for that weekend, public art was one of them. So I worked with images that a local photographer had taken, which happened to now be part of the Fort Upon Iowa archive, which is really exciting. More than 1.5 million photos of his have been donated, so we're really excited about that. I took some of his photos and put them up in empty store windows in our community, and it was a huge hit. People loved them. It was a great way to kind of draw attention away from the buildings that were closed and give something that people could look at and enjoy. So this is our old theater building, which was boarded up, and so I took those boarded up windows and turned them into picture frames with images there that showcase the theater in its heyday. Since then, those have been taken down because the theater is being renovated now. So we're really excited about that, and it's kind of nice to see those boards taken down. There's a couple more. And this is the largest one I did. Unfortunately, it started to rain, so I couldn't finish up the very top of it, but that was almost 2 stories tall, and that was the first one that I did. So I've had an opportunity to learn a lot more, which you'll learn about here in a second. But this just kind of shows what it looks like in an Iowa community from a while back. So over the year, I actually spent time as a Fulbright research grantee in Budapest, Hungary, where I worked with the original Fort Upon archive and did public art installations throughout Budapest. And during that time, I actually had the opportunity to go to Paris and work on a project with none other than JR himself. So it was at the Louvre here, and it was over the course of 4 days. We had 2,000 rolls of 35-foot long paper, and over 400 volunteers came from all across Europe to be a part of this project. Nobody knew what we were doing. It was all a secret. We just knew we had to show up at the Louvre. And so here's us working, making the glue, and we're putting the print there, as you can see, on the courtyard of the Louvre. This was in celebration for the 30th anniversary of the construction of the pyramid. And this really, the opportunity to work with JR was really great. I got to learn a lot, but also got to understand how you do something on this size, and while the world was watching, it was really exciting. So this is what it looked like from the top view, and it doesn't look like much of anything because he uses a design style called anamorphic, where it's only viewable from one position. So it didn't look like anything until you saw it from the front. And it looks as if the pyramid has been excavated from a dig site. And this attained global news status. People were talking about it all across the world. And to see this humble art form of just flour, water, and paper embraced by one of the greatest museums in the world, I think is a testament to its accessibility and its excitement as an art form and the way that people interact with it. And it was just a really fantastic project to be proud of. And because it was on the ground, people walked on it, and it quickly deteriorated over about 48 hours, which was kind of the point. And there I am with JR. So it was pretty exciting to get to meet him and work with him, and excited to take all that knowledge that I had learned and bring it back to the United States as part of the Fort Upon Iowa project, and help us promote not only the Fort Upon Iowa archive, but also this complicated history of Iowa and Iowans through this art. So we're very excited. Now, another question is probably, how do you paste? And it's really easy. You all could do it when you go home tonight. So first, the important thing is to find a location. So I found this location in Budapest. It was on one of my favorite streets where there's a lot of young people and bars and things like that. So it had high visibility location. And then you start to go through the process of image curation, and you find out which image you're going to put in the space. Does it tell a story? Does it fit into the location? All kinds of criteria. This is the most time consuming because you got to get it right. And then once you get it right, then you take it into Photoshop and you start to divide it up into the paper. And there's a lot of math here, which I'm not a math person, but it worked, so I was happy. And then you get yourself a stand mixer and you start making gallons and gallons of glue in your kitchen. So luckily, it was a good stand mixer. I miss it a lot. And you make the glue, and then you get a team of the most talented and smartest Fulbright scholars that the U.S. has to offer from around Europe, and you recruit them to help you in the middle of the night, and you go put it up and document it on Instagram, and there it is. So that took us a couple hours to do with a team of us. So we had smaller sheets of paper than what we're proposing to use here, so it took a little longer. But that's just one example of a piece. Here's another one I did in Budapest as part of my Fulbright. This was one that was done indoors. I had a restaurant club that contacted me and wanted to do something. So we put one indoors, which was really exciting. That was new. And then this is, I call it the most Instagrammed of my work. This was all the images were part of a show that was going on that Fordupon they had been selected to work with the Hungarian National Gallery, and they put together the show of, I think, 400 Fordupon photographs in the National Gallery, which was really, it was a shock because for a lot of times, Fordupon wasn't really respected by the high art community, and now to see them bringing them in really kind of showed Fortupon's worth. And to date, it's actually been one of the most successful shows that they've had at the National Gallery. They've had to extend it by a couple months because there have been so many young people and so many people who have never been to the museum come in to look at the Fordupon exhibition. So it's bringing in new people into the art community. It's bringing in new ideas and really inspiring a lot of people. So all the images that I selected for my work were used to help promote the show. So I don't take any credit, but yeah, the show was fantastic on its own. So, but nonetheless, we got a lot of social media posts about the art, which was really exciting to see. And I still go back and check every now and then, and they're still up and doing great, and people are seeing them. So it's a lot of fun. So it's a fresh, exciting art form that young people are really interested in, that's Instagrammable, so there's a lot of good PR that comes from it too. And so we're really excited to use it as one of our main marketing tools for Fordupon, Iowa, when we go into these 5 different communities. Not only, like I said, to promote the archive, but mainly to get people excited about their communities and talking about what makes their community special and what makes those images from that community special. And plastering something on the side of a building is one way to get people's attention. So we're really excited about that. Funding for the project. This project is completely funded already through the College Hill Partnership, the UNI Alumni Association, and the Iowa Arts Council. We have a $10,000 grant from the Iowa Arts Council to do these wheat pastings in these 5 communities. Cedar Falls is one of them. So we're very happy to see support on those levels from all different people. And that brings me exactly to the proposal that we're bringing forward to you today. The proposal is for 5 temporary wheat paste murals. They'll be located on Octopus, Little Bigs, and Copyworks. The installation will occur prior to October 5th, and the removal, unless by request of the building owners, in case weather or something starts to damage them, will be on October 1st, 2020. So they'll be up about a year, which is what we foresee the paper and the paste being able to withstand the weather and everything like that. We're going to be using large rolls of paper instead of small sheets, so there shouldn't be any kind of damage from wind. The wind shouldn't be able to bring it down the whole sheet. A lot of people wonder, well, if people go to tear it, if there's like a spot that they can pull on, it's not going to pull the whole sheet down. It's going to pull off a little chunk and that's it, because the glue is surprisingly strong for being just flour and water. So, and then here are the images that we're going to propose. Or I guess here's a map, so you can see I've got the yellow areas highlighted. We've got Copyworks there at the very bottom, and then at the top is Octopus, and then the other 3 will be on Little Bigs, which is on the back side by that parking lot. So here's our first selection. Here's our second. Here's our third. This will be a full wrap of this building. And all these images have been curated through our team. We have Noah Doley, the professor of photography at UNI, has helped. Bettina did a lot of work to select the images, and then we've also run it through the channel of business owners and people on the College Hill. So everybody we ran it through a very rigorous selection process in terms of what we're going to be posting and what we thought was fit the environment of the Hill and our project as well. So we have a lot of support from everybody in those channels on the images that have been selected. So that brings me to the Q&A section. So we'll happily take any and all of your questions on this initiative.
Thanks, Isaac and Bettina. Appreciate your passion. Council, any questions? Mr. Whelan?
Being a photographer, I got to speak up a little bit. You're scanning in high resolution, and I think that's a good idea.
Is microphone
So
on?
if you use my camera, which is extremely high resolution, you're going to get a great image. I don't think that precludes you from using a low resolution picture. Scanning it at high, it's still going to be a low resolution picture, but you're viewing it from so far back, nobody's going to notice it. So I just wanted to comment that don't throw out low-resolution pictures because they might look a little blurry, because when you stand 20 feet back, they're going to be crystal sharp. So
Yeah, and
I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, that's a great point. The process we use when we're printing the images is actually a series of dots. So it isn't actually a full print. It's a bunch of dots. So when you step away, then you see the whole image. But as you get really close, it's all these small little dots. So that's a great point.
Anyone further from council? Mr. Green?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, with the installation, you mentioned there might be some damage or some things that come apart on it. Is it possible for you to come up during the year to repair some of those, or would it just all have to come down if it's?
Yeah, I'm sure it's actually a really forgiving art form. On that piece that JR did that was on the entire floor of the Louvre, there were lots of pieces actually when you're working with so many volunteers that got torn or ripped or things like that. So let's say a section undergoes some kind of damage. I can go into Photoshop and print off that section and then replace it. And small tears or things really don't take away from the big picture, right? You step back and you still get the effect of the whole image. So yeah, if we underwent any kind of sections that were damaged or things like that, we can always print off a smaller piece without having to remove the entire sheet. Most sheets of paper, I think, are going to be about 3 feet wide by, gosh, if the building's 2 stories tall, they could be 20, 30 feet long. So I'll be working. Actually, we're going to do all of our business with Copyworks on the Hill. So we're going to support local business with this project too. So they've been really gracious to help us and provide that kind of support as well. So yeah, we can print off extra pieces if we need to and do maintenance work.
Anything further from council?
Yeah.
Mr. Dara?
The Fort Penn, Iowa project, all the photos are from Iowa, is that correct?
That's
Are there any of these photos from Cedar Falls? Or are there? Okay, that makes them even more cool.
Yeah, we really want to try, like I talked about, making those photos fit the environment they're in. Again, we want to use photographs that come from the communities or are centered around something. So we're looking at doing it in Webster City, and we want to put up a giant chicken because apparently they have a huge history with chickens and hatcheries there. So all kinds of curious ways that we can tie this art form back into the community and really personalize it.
Well, again, thank you to both of you. Appreciate you coming and sharing. Council, this item is on the agenda later in our regular agenda, so we considering it at that point.
Thank you very much, and I'd encourage you all to visit fortupon.us, that's the website, and browse the selection of images we have, and keep an eye out for that new web design that's going to be rolling out here soon. So thank you very much.
Thanks again. Council, the next item is there a motion to approve bills and payroll?
So moved.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Motion carries. This concludes this evening's Committee of the Whole meeting. We'll retire this portion of the meeting and adjourn at the top of the hour for a regular council meeting. Thank you.